Hello, everybody. This is Johnny Dee talking to you live from Orchard, Orange Park, Florida, in the hospital here. How you like my mustache? No, I guess you can tell that's not a real mustache. That's my breather. It goes in to this machine over here and gives me oxygen from help my pneumonia. I'm kind of sick still. I like to text you and tell you I like all your replies on my music, but I don't like to text. I'm on this little bitty cell phone. I got big fingers. They're really hard to hit those letters just the right way, and I'm a little bit uncoordinated because of my sickness. But I wish to get well. Maybe I'll get out of here in a few days because this stupid lever oxygen meter up there says I got to turn all the way down, and I got to be able to walk out of here with one of these things and have that oxygen level in the 90s before I can leave this place. So bear with me. I love your replies. I love you donating money to my medical bills. I don't know how I'm going to pay for all this, but I'll try my best. But I always like to pay everybody off that I owe money to. And for you poor people that somehow got screwed a little bit on the patronage thing, I tried my best to figure it out. I even picked the lowest number that you could possibly donate was $1. Some places go up to $5 or $10. I chose one. They told me to use one. I made some kind of stupid mistake, though. It come out per video. I don't know where I did wrong. My wife will fix it for me, I hope. She's a lot smarter than me on computers. And her son is, he's, a, he's a geek. I don't know what happened to me. It's just a little bit too long for me to learn all this junk. It's a hard time for me to learn these cell phones. They're so complicated. But anyway, I'm slowly learning, and I'm learning the hard way. But one thing I learned is having that nice cigarette in the morning with that cup of coffee is not any good for your health. You get a quick buzz to your brain. It gives you that chemical in your brain, makes you feel good. But as friends, it's not worth it. If you want to die, when you run out of air, it's no fun. You go one room to the next in your house, you stop, you catch your breath, and go to another room. It's miserable. Maybe it's not all the smoking. Maybe I have to blame partly, and I'm a machinist. I worked in a machine shop for 50 years. I had to work till I was 67 just to get some extra insurance for my company. And like a fool, I quit that a couple years ago because the premium was about $800 a year, and then it went up to $900 and $1,000. Before now, I was paying $1,300 a year for insurance. I mean, just 1 month alone for the whole year. That's ridiculous. And these government over here in the United States, they keep borrowing money from Social Security, and poor idiots like me worked hard all their life, putting in all that overtime to make ends meet, and then the government take out extra money to put in your Social Security and your Medicare, and the federal government takes out extra money for your taxes. You wonder, why am I working 10, 15 hours a week overtime just to give all them my extra money? And then Congress gets short of money, and they come over and say, well, maybe we can borrow some money from Social Security. You got a lot of money in there. Let's take some out of there. And then when it comes time for raising it in a year, they don't have any money left. And they wonder what to do with the old people. Maybe we should just hope we die off, and it'll save some money for the country. And that way, that money will get built up there again. But that's not right, people. I worked hard all my life. I deserve a retirement and some golden days and have a little fun before I drop dead and end up in a grave someplace. Well, maybe my wife will have me whatever you call that, put it into powder form, and spread it across my favorite golf course up north, over there in Petrifying Springs in Wisconsin, on a certain hole.
We don't have any ice cream.
Okay, thank you, man.
You're welcome.
Anyway, I just wish to thank all you fans. I wish to thank PewDiePie for making me famous. And I'm really happy. I had some trouble today in the hospital. They said they don't want me using the washroom. I said, how am I going to shave? How am I going to wash my hair? How am I going to clean my dishes? How am I going to use my mouthwash? They said you could do it on your little table over here where you eat off. I said, you're crazy. We got in a big fight. I got in a fight with all the nurses and all the people here in this hospital. I even called 911. The cops came over here, but they told me to tell the security guard. The security guard came up and told me, don't call the police anymore. It's up to hospital rules, whatever they want to do with you. And they treat me like a whole kid. I said, I'm perfectly balanced. I could walk over to the washroom, your beautiful washroom over there, and do all this stuff, and clean myself, shave, and all that stuff. And you treat me like a little kid. Why do you want me stuck in this chair? And they were really picking on me. I'm not kidding you. This is terrible. This hospitals were never like this up by Chicago. Living down in Florida, they got to change all the rules. They want you to use the washroom. Why did they build that stupid thing for anyway? What is the matter with these people? They treat me like a little kid. They want to lock me in that stupid bed over there, that one right there, for 5-6 days before even let me take one little tiny step out of that bedroom, out of the bed. I can't stand staying in bed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whatnot. These people are down south and picking on me. Maybe it's because I'm from the north. I don't know. I give them a lot of money. It's going to cost me $200 a day out of my own pocket just to stay here, plus whatever Medicare gives them, plus whatever Humana Insurance gives them, and they're still not happy. They want more money. This is ridiculous living in America today. But sure, you guys over in Europe brag, well, we don't have to pay anything at all for health insurance. We just go to the hospital and let the government worry about it. But you know, you got to remember something too, though, everybody in the world. The United States has a big military to protect the rest of the world, the free countries. We're here to protect you. We have to pay a lot of our taxes for that military. It's 1/3 of our budget. So just don't forget that. We're here to protect you and make sure everybody doesn't get bombed to death or threatened by these terrorists or other countries coming with their main armies. We're there to protect you. I am not a military man. I don't never confess to be. I got out of the draft when I was 6 in 1969. I was married, had a beautiful wife and 2 kids, and she divorced me. She said, honey, you married me too young. I don't want to settle down with 2 kids. What's the matter? What did you think that all that fun we had with sex is going to lead to? We had 2 kids. Is that my fault? Is that her fault? She didn't want to settle down. She divorced me. She left. A couple of weeks after the divorce, she got in a truck with a couple of guys and went to another bar. And there was a couple of guys in the back of the pickup truck. And the driver wanted to have some fun and screw around going back and forth across the highway like this and rolling the truck back and forth to knock his 2 friends off in the back because he thought that would be funny to have him knock off the truck. What happened? Oh, it's terrible. The worst thing ever happened that you can imagine. The truck spilled over on its side. It was one of the old-fashioned pickup trucks. They had a gas can right above the driver's head there, and the gas kept leaking down on the pavement. And the metal pipe that was rubbing on the road created sparks. And before you know it, boom, boom, boom. A big gas explosion about 6 stories, way up high in the air. I wasn't there. I was home sleeping, getting ready for my 10-hour-a-day overtime job. Next day, my ex-mother-in-law called me up all night long. I finally answered the phone at 5 o'clock in the morning. Who in the hell is this? And she told me, Kate died. So what am I supposed to do? She died 2 weeks. She got seriously burned with the 2 people in the truck. They burned to death. They lived a horrible death. Luckily, the 2 guys in the back of the truck jumped off and escaped injuries. Anyway, the Army called me up and said, well, you don't have 2 kids anymore. You don't have a wife. You're not married. We want to classify you 1A for the draft. We want you for Vietnam. And you know that story about Vietnam. It's a war the government wanted to start over there. And all young people who wanted to go to Canada and get out of that war. I was not interested in get my ass shot off there in the hot, humid jungle. I talked to my employer at the machine shop, and the owner liked me. I was a good machinist, even one of my beginning days. And he said he would give me a machinist apprenticeship course. And I got out of the 1A and went back to 4Y as a qualified machinist apprenticeship. Of course, I did have to work 50 hours a week and get that heart and soul to my company because they were keeping me out of the draft. And of course, they wanted me to go to night school for 2 nights a week too. So I did all that. And I skipped that stupid-ass Vietnam War. Some of my friends got shot up pretty bad over there. And others got lucky. He got sent to Korea. They didn't have to go to Vietnam. Some went over to Germany. But I don't know if I did the right thing or not. I wanted to join the Air Force. They wouldn't let me. I had too many speeding tickets. So I didn't want to go in the Army. I went there one day for the medical up in Chicago. And they treated me like they treated me really bad. The guys there didn't like their job in the Army. They were hollering at me and screaming at me for a medical. And I guess I was good enough to pass the medical and all that. But that's, they give us a train ride to Chicago and all that junk. And spent the whole day living a life of an Army man and seeing what they had to go through to go join the military service. And back then, brother, I'll tell you, they don't pay as good money as they do now. They pay very little money there in the military. Nowadays, my stepson, he's in the Navy. My wife's son makes an enormous amount of money for being in the service. And he's going to get a pension at 40 years old and retire the rest of his life. I had to work till I was 67. And I'm poor because the government took all my money out of Social Security. I can't afford my medications anymore. I have to cut out back my medications. They just want us to get sick and drop off dead and save the government some more money. After we work hard all our lives and put all that money in Social Security, they had the congressman take, let's borrow some money from Social Security. They got plenty of money in there. Let's take it out of there and pay some of these other bills. Thanks a lot, senators and representatives. You really made my golden days miserable. Thanks a lot. And sure, I smoked, when I was young and all that. My older brother gave me some cigarettes to smoke when I was 12 years old. And we were living out in a nice country house and everything. My dad had to move to the stupid-ass North Chicago, where Abbott's was a factory that makes medical supplies, and they stunk up the whole town with pollutants. It smelled terrible in North Chicago. It was not the country at all. It was dirty, stinking air you had to breathe. My dad lost that store over there that he went in business with. He flubbed up again, screwed up, and started a real estate job down the street. Left us kids to run the store with. The place went bankrupt in no time at all. But one thing, the cigarette man forgot to come over and empty the cigarette